Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here. And before we get started, let's get the shout out of the way. Today's shout out goes to Tolis Coke. Tolis was the first to say first in one of my recent videos, and thus wins a shout out, so congratulations. Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and in continuation with my series of beginner RC airplanes, this is the Techboy Mini Fox 2-channel RC airplane. This is very, very basic RC airplane. It's only 2 channels. It's powered by a 130 milliampere hour battery internal to the airplane that has to be charged inside the airplane, and right beside that is its on-off switch, which you hold down. Other than that, you know, it is a 2-channel. It has a little, I guess, this solenoid activation here. You tell it to turn left or right, and the rudder will pitch full over. So what does that mean? That means when you control it with this controller, and this is your left and your right control, you're going to need to be turning, it's not proportional steering. You're going to have to bump turn it, which means you're going to have to do rapid bumps to the left like this until it's turning the direction you want, or rapid bumps to the right until it's turning the direction that you want. If you hold down this button to turn, you're likely going to roll over, okay? It's because it's not proportional steering. It's full rudder when you hold that. So you're just going to give it little bumps until it's turning in the direction you want. The stick on the left here, this slide switch actually, is the throttle. So this makes you go up or down. So you give it more throttle to climb and less throttle to come back down. So very basic: throttle up, throttle down, and left bumps and right bumps to turn it. Additionally, this is powered by 4 AA batteries. If you put alkalines in there, good alkalines, you can actually use this controller to recharge the drone in the field as a power bank through this USB port here. And there is an on-off switch on the back. So that's the airplane. Let's turn it on, bind it, and take it for a flight and see how it flies. So turning it on by holding this button down and then putting it on a relatively flat level surface, although it don't really matter since this one I do not believe is stabilized, gyro stabilized, and turning on the power switch and throttle up and down to bind it, and we should be good to go. So let's see if it'll take off in this short amount of space here and see if it'll fly. So hope you enjoy this flight. So giving it full throttle. Nope. We are going to need to toss it, folks. We're going to need to hand toss it. And additionally, since this is not gyro stabilized, I don't know if it is balanced. So I brought some putty with me. If this needs balancing, we're going to do that following this first toss here. I'm going to be able to tell right away if it needs balanced. So giving it throttle. Yep, I need to restart it again, unfortunately, because it didn't like going nose first into the ground. So turning off the switch, turning on the power again, putting it on the ground, and turning on the switch again, rebinding the throttle. Okay, we're good to go there. So we're good to go, giving it throttle and hoping it flies. Yeah, I was full throttle there, folks, and it's a little bit nose heavy. So what I'm going to do, they tell you to bend the elevators on this. I do not recommend doing that. You're going to break it. If it is out of the center of gravity is off on this right now, I can tell. All I really need to do, folks, is put a little putty on the back end here, just a little bit, to make it less nose heavy. So notice that each time when it goes into a crash like that, it'll turn itself off to prevent damage to the motor, so that's good too. I'm going to take a little piece of putty. You could be using Play-Doh. It doesn't really matter. Any putties, most putties will work as long as they're a little bit sticky. And sticking it onto the back of the tail like so. And this should give us some more weight in the aft end here, so that it doesn't go nose first into the ground like that. So I'm going to put that putty in my pocket. We're going to fire it up again. Okay, that putty's on the back there. We're going to try it again. If it noses in again, I'm going to put a little more putty on there. So if it pitches up and does a lot of phugoids, I'm going to take a little bit of the putty off. So starting up the motor by holding that button down. Motor is started, and putting the airplane on the ground and starting up the controller again and giving it throttle to up and throttle down, and we are bound again. So let's see if it'll fly again this time, and hopefully it will. And throttle. There. That's much better. But let's see if it stays up in the air. It's climbing nicely. Got some phugoids, so I might have a little bit too much putty on it. Actually, I'm just reducing the throttle. Left turn. It's climbing with that putty. Turning to the right. Turning to the left. Actually, I had to do a hard left there to turn it. A little bit too much putty in my opinion. A little more throttle. A little turn to the left. It's flying. A little bit too much putty though, folks. I'm going to try to, let's see if I can bring it back in and take some of that putty off. We've got too much phugoid oscillations there. Cutting back the throttle. And let's take a little bit of putty off. One, not much. Just a little bit. Just a little bit too much putty there. Hope I didn't take too much. Let's try that amount. Right there. I took that much off on my thumb there. And I'm going to leave it on my thumb actually, because I might want to put it back on again. So we'll find out. Okay? Let's see. Let's try it again. And here we go. Yeah, that's better. That's better. So just with a little bit of putty, you can balance the center of gravity on these off relatively easily. And I'm using a button. Actually, I'm not bumping it too hard. Let's turn it to the right. See if I can bring it by me. You know, this one, it's a beginner's, but, you know, you have to have knowledge to be able to know that you need to, whoa, balance it. And there I go into the ground there. I was getting a little phugoids again. So, we're going to take a little more putty off. A little more putty. I'm probably going to need to restart it again because it nosed into the ground. Every time it does that, it knows it's to remove power. Okay, I've removed some more putty. That's the total amount of putty I've removed right there. So hopefully it'll be balanced now. I didn't like how it was balanced before, but it should be balanced better now. We'll find out. So giving it throttle again. And there we go. Flying real nicely now. Nice and smooth. How about if I give it a right turn? Nice and smooth. So once you get this balanced out, you just know that it's balanced. It'll fly better. Smooth. No up or down bumps. And I got to get out of the sun there. I can't see the little thing in the sun. But it's flying real well, and I'm hardly having any power on this thing at all. Nice and smooth. Okay, turning it to the left. Oh, oh, oh. But notice no phugoids after that. Turn it to the left. Hard left. Hard right. A little more, a little more. A little left now. So yeah, you only need to balance this once. Once you figure it out, that balance should work for the remainder of the flights that you do with this. And you just leave that putty there, okay, for future flights. But again, out of the box, especially this cheap one here, you know, out of the box, it's going to need to be balanced. I'm trying to show you me steering this thing, how I do it. Actually, sometimes I do have to hold it down a lot longer than just a bump to get it to turn, but then I have to straighten it back out again too. It flies high with hardly any throttle on it. I'm trying to reduce the throttle a bit. Let's bring it back down. Flying high and far away. Try to keep the sun behind me here. Trying to cut off the throttle too to bring it back down. I don't want to come down. I think I balanced it perfectly. More throttle, or less throttle. Come over here. Not over there, not toward the sun. Turn to the left, turn to the left. Huh. Let's go that way, then make a right turn and come back the other way. More throttle. Oh, now I got to restart it again. Took my hand off the throttle there during that turn. Tip, folks, if you're in a turn, keep your finger on the throttle. You might need it. And the wind's coming from that direction right now. Keeping the finger on the throttle and going into the sun. Reducing throttle. And I want to do a slow flyby is what I'm trying to do. There's the slow flyby. It's just that it's such a small airplane, you're going to have a hard time seeing this little thing. Real hard time. It's a tiny little airplane. Now, this is not a windy day flyer by any means. You know, this is, you're going to have to go early in the morning like I do. Fly when there's hardly any wind with this particular airplane, because I know wind is going to bounce this one around. So, okay, we're going to call it quits here. Let me line it up for a landing. I'm going to go over that way and turn it. Reduce throttle. I hardly have any throttle on this thing. It's climbing. Come back down here. Kerplop. That's good enough. So, that's the Techboy Mini Fox. Beginner's 2-channel RC, cheap RC airplane. I think it's under $20. I think it's about 18 actually. So, I hope you enjoyed this flight. This is Quadcopter 101, signing out.